Hi guys, my name's Bex and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm bringing to you my 1K Q&A and my giveaway. The time has come, guys. My celebration for my 1K is over and it's time to answer all of your guys' questions and announce who the winner is of my 1K giveaway. So basically, I asked you guys to put a question on one of my videos a few back, and I would put all the people who asked a question into a draw for a $25 Australian order from Book Depository. So that time now has been and gone, and it's time to get to the questions, and at the end I will put them all in a random draw and announce the winner, and I'm so excited to give back to you guys. Thank you again so much for sticking with me to 1K. It's been an awesome ride and I'm really excited to hit this milestone, and thank you very much to everyone who has supported me throughout my journey, as well as anyone who subscribed, comments, liked. It just means the world to me. So without further ado, this is going to be a long one because I'm going to be answering like every question. So grab a coffee or a tea or a Monster or a Coca-Cola, grab a soft drink, sit down, and let's get into it. So guys, we're not going to get too fancy here. I'm not going to put the question up like I've seen some people do because editing Beck would hate me. And look, I'm not up for that life. So I'm going to read out who asked the question and answer it for you guys. So first up is Jess from Jess Reads Books, and she says, I love you. I love you too, girl. My question is, if you could transform into any animal or being, what would it be and why? I'm probably going to be an Australian catalogue because I have an Australian catalogue and I love her so much, and she's so pure and amazing, and Australian catalogue. Next is Read Between Lines, and they ask if you could name your 3 future children, yes, random, after book characters, which names would you pick and why? So I would choose Feyre. I think Feyre is a really beautiful name. I would probably pick Emmett from Twilight. I loved the name Emmett when I first heard it and I was like, that is amazing. And Hannah from Gemina without the H. I like that it's spelled H-A-N-N-A. I'm unsure why. You said to say why, but I'm unsure. And the next question is, boom, you just turned into a flower. What type are you? Well, I would be a snapdragon. When I was little, my granddad always used to have snapdragons in the gardens, and they were my favorite because you squeeze them and they opened and closed. If I can find a picture, I'll put a picture of a snapdragon here if you don't know what it is, but they are my favorite flower, and yeah, that's what I would turn into. Next, we have my girl Jade from JD Ray Reads, and she asked, how many times has your bookshelf fallen apart in the last month? Oh, she's so cruel. So if you do not know, these 2 shelves that I'm sitting right in front of today, but not leaning on because they'll collapse, fall apart constantly. So in the last month, I think they've fallen down twice. And also, what's the best book you've read during the time you've had your channel? Oh, A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. You know how I feel about that book. The next lot of questions come from A Journey to Books, and there are a few of them, so let's hold on. Number 1, did you expect your channel to hit 1K, and if so, do you feel like it took a while or did it happen so fast? Did I expect my channel to hit 1K? No. Do you feel like it took a while? Yeah. So some people grow really quickly. I don't feel like mine was like that. I think it was a very slow progression. I felt like I was sitting on like 400 for ages. Like that's where it plateaued. So yeah, I'm grateful that it's got to 1K, but I think it was a slow process from my perspective. If you could be a representative for any book box, what book box would it be? One that you don't get or have never gotten. Oh. So I'm not subscribed to Fairy Loot. I do buy one-offs every once in a while. I would love to rep for them. I love everything that's in their boxes, but for one that I've never gotten, probably like Illuma Crate. They have really good stuff and I'm not subscribed to them. I've gotten them once on a one-off box for Iron Gold, but I've never really gotten a box from them. The third question she asked is, what is the top 5 things you want to do on your bucket list if you have one? I don't have a bucket list, but I can like put it out there. I want to go to England, I want to go to Europe, I would like to do an animal encounter with a tiger, I would like to snow ski in Japan, and all of mine are basically travel related if you haven't noticed, and I would like to build a house with a built-in library. Number 4, since I started reading this year, I was wondering if you could do a video of a book series that you would recommend every person should read before they start going into standalone books or vice versa. Yeah, Sure, I can do that for you. I will put that on the list and try to get that up for you. Number 5 is, where have you traveled and visited? I have been to the US 3 times. I've been to Canada once, and I've done the South Pacific Islands, which is Vanuatu, Fiji, and New Caledonia once. And I have touched down in New Zealand, but I've then taken off again. So I haven't actually visited, but I've been in their country. If you could go back to school and do any schooling, what would it be for? It depends if it's like high school or uni. Uni-wise, I would go back to do either interior design or degree to do like be a zoologist. What was your dream job as a child? To be a singer or to be a zookeeper. Both of those were my favorite. I used to sing a lot when I was a child and I love animals. Number 8, if you could tell your past self, your 8-year-old self specifically, one thing, what do you think it would be? YOLO. Number 9, if you could carry one object that had a magical ability, what would the object be and what could it do? You coming at me with some hard questions here. I would have a magical, like a necklace, that would allow me to talk and communicate with animals. Gotcha. Number 10, if you could visit one of the great wonders of the world, what would it be and why? The Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt, because I've always been fascinated with Egypt. I don't think I'm ever going to get there, because obviously it's quite dangerous to travel there at the moment, but I've always wanted to see the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, after all those questions, we're moving on to someone else. So we've got Elizabeth Mackay. She asked, what is my favourite thing about BookTube? My favourite thing about BookTube is the same answer that I always answer, and that is, it's the community. I've met some amazing people, I've made some amazing friends, and I just love interacting with the community. What made you decide to start a BookTube channel? Honestly, I was just watching a lot of BookTube and reading a lot of books and wanting to talk to someone about them. So I kind of just said, fuck it. I started filming off my iPad, my old ass iPad, and the quality is horrific, and then, yeah, it just grew from there. If you could sit down to dinner with one author, who would it be and why? Same question but for a character. Victoria Schwab. She's amazing. I love her writing. I'm really getting invested into her books, and I like how she writes morally grey characters. Character-wise, could I pick a comic book character? Because technically they're characters. Steve Rogers. Little Bookful asks, what advice would you give to the ones just starting BookTube? Just do it. The best thing I've probably ever done. It's been a wonderful experience. And then once you have jumped in, it's all about talking to people. Comment on videos. People will comment on your videos, and honestly, everything just goes from there. Vanessa M asks, if you could visit any fictional world for a day, which one would it be? And would you ever actually want to live there? I would probably visit Valaris from the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, because I would like to meet those characters. Would I actually want to live there? Probably not. My girl Rihanna from Crescent Moon Reads asks, what is your zodiac sign and do you feel like it's accurate? I am a Sagittarius. I am born on 28th of November, so I am the Archer. Do you feel it's accurate? Yes. My friend and I were doing our zodiacs the other day, and we always laugh because I don't like clingy people. Like, I like my space, and the first dislike was like clingy people. So my strengths: generous, idealistic, great sense of humor. I like to think so. Weaknesses: promises more than can deliver, probably. Very impatient. Yes, very accurate. Will say anything no matter how undiplomatic. Sagittarius likes freedom, travel, philosophy, and being outdoors. Yes to all of them. Dislikes clingy people, being constrained, off-the-wall theories. My star sign is very accurate. The next question comes from Rita Vieria. Sorry if I've said that incorrectly. And they ask, if you could only read one book for the rest of your life, which one would it be and why? Mockingjay from The Hunger Games. Mockingjay's always been the book that I could reread. My lovely friend Bunny asks, if you could interview any author for a video, living or dead, who would it be and why? Probably V.E. Schwab. I would love to do a video with V.E. Schwab. That'll never happen, but that would be wonderful. 2, please mail me a quokka. No, you can't have a quokka. I don't even have a quokka because I live on Rottnest Island, which is in WA, and I've never even seen a quokka in real life. It makes me sad. So no, Bunny, I can't send you a quokka, I'm sorry. You'll have to visit to get a quokka. Beck from Beckle Panda asks, what is an audiobook you'd recommend? The Lightning Struck Heart by TJ Klune, if you have an inappropriate sense of humour, because it's very inappropriate. So what are the books that got Little Beck's reading aside from Harry Potter? The Hunger Games was one that I kind of read as soon as it comes out. Other than that, nothing. Shenli Zong asks, what was the first book you have read? It was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, if I'm honest. And at what age did you start collecting books? 23 or 24, I'm not sure which one. If you'd be given a chance to have a friendly date with an author, who would it be? I have answered this one, V.E. Schwab, but I'm gonna add in here J. Kristoff as well. And last question is, how do you cope with stress? Not very well. I stress eat. Not a one to talk about coping mechanisms for stress, because I'm not very good at it. At the end of the day, try to just read and just relax and kind of get out of my stressful mindset so I can actually have a good sleep. Sarah Niaz asks, how many books do you read at the same time? Only about 2. One on audiobook, 1 physical book. I have got up there at one stage and been like 4, but I just it's too much for me. I need to complete a book before moving on. With the exception of an audiobook. And also she asked, do you prefer listening to audiobooks only while doing random stuff or listening to them while holding the book to follow along with the narrator? Great question. If I'm in the car, I obviously won't have my book and I'll just listen, but when I get home, I normally flick to where it is and continue reading the physical book. I love following along with the narrator. That's just my enjoyable way of reading. On the Fritz asks, what books do you wish you could read for the first time again? That's super easy. Strange Dreamer by Laini Taylor and the Dark Shade of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab. A Stitch in Time asks, if you could be best friends with any book character, who would it be and why? Oh, sorry about that. I had pins and needles and then bumped my camera. So if I could be best friends with any book character and why? I feel like this one's a hard one because I want to pick 2 characters from the same series. I want to pick Cassian and Azriel from Court of Mist and Fury because I love Cassian's energy and I love his wit and his humor, but I love Azriel and I need to know more about Azriel because I feel like with these 2 characters we just didn't get enough. And I wouldn't want more. I want more from both of them. I would love to be their best friends. Kerry Louise Reads, I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, asks, what is your favourite book to movie adaptation? It would probably be The Hunger Games if I'm honest. I love the books and I do think they left a lot of things out, which is to be expected. But they were my favourite books and some of my favourite movies as well. The next question is from Tammy Harvey and she asks, what are fantasy books you would recommend to people trying to get into the genre? That's a good question. I have a video on that, so I'll leave it up here for you. Basically, some of my starting ones would be the Shadow and Bone trilogy from Leigh Bardugo, Dark Shade of Magic trilogy by Victoria Schwab, currently reading the Percy Jackson series, so if you were a younger reader and starting out earlier, I would recommend that because I wish I read it when I was younger. Panita Tolya asks, if you were to write a book, what would you write about? I'd write a dystopian, let's be honest. My favourite genre when I'm in a slump is dystopian, and I feel like that is something that I would write. I would write something that kind of starts out bad, but you bring in hope and a beautiful setting and a beautiful like ending. Like that's I think what I would always write, but not that I will ever write. Ordinary Reader asks, what is the best and worst books you've read so far this year? Wonderful question. The best book I've read this year is still Strange Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I read this in January and it's still by far my favourite. A lot are getting close to it, like A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab, which is the final book in the Dark Shade of Magic series, but Strange Dreamer just for sure. The worst book I've read this year was probably The Miniatures by Jessie Burton or Godblind by Anna Stevens. Okay, so next we got Book Elenic, and they ask, talk out a moment when you read a scene or were contemplating a book and realised the impact it had on you. Which book and why? Okay, these guys, you didn't go easy on the questions, did you? So I must say probably Mockingjay and the last scene, which I'm not going to spoil for people who haven't read Mockingjay. It's the last scene in Mockingjay I felt had the biggest impact on me. A part of it is what I need is a dandelion in the spring, and I'm not going to say any more than that because it's a spoiler, but if you've read it, you probably know what scene I'm talking about. But I think the impact that it had was sometimes what you need is not someone like yourself. I think it had a massive impact on me because of the reasoning behind the choices she made, and I can't give it away. That's gonna make no sense, but I'm not gonna spoil anyone. Kylie A asks, do you have any brothers or sisters? Tell us about them if you do. No, I'm an only child. Egan asks, what is your fave childhood book? And for me, Harry Potter. What's the book that made you fall in love with reading? The Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. My Dreams of Reading asks, what is your all-time favourite book that you would recommend to everyone? All-time favourite book is probably The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Would I recommend it to everyone? No. but if you like dystopian, I'd recommend it to you. My girl Erina from My Life is Erina asks, what has been your most memorable book of 2018 and why? Stranger Dream by Laini Taylor, because I feel like that book was just so beautifully written and I didn't know what I was getting going into it, so there was just so much beauty and the foreshadowing was amazing and the world building was wonderful and the characters were just perfect. Everything. What I can say about Stranger Dreamer is I thought it was a perfect book. The Word Nerd asks, what is something you know now that you wish you had known 10 years ago? 10 years ago I was 16 and I wish I had known that you don't have to make your life choices in grade 12. You shouldn't be pressured to know what you want to do because nobody knows what they want to do. Like I'm 26 and I'm not doing what I want to do. I barely know what I want to do, but it's just, you shouldn't be forced to choose that young. I think it's just annoying. Linda's Book World asks, what magical creature would you like to have as a pet? Dragon. Lynn Hermione asks, what's the best book you've read that you wouldn't have discovered without BookTube? That would be A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury. I wouldn't have known about the first book or the second one without BookTube. The Bookaholic asks, if there was a fire and you could only save 10 books, what would you choose? Oh, how dare you. Stranger Dream by Laini Taylor, my 3 illustrated Harry Potters, Court of Mist and Fury, just Mist and Fury because I'm not going to waste it on the other 2. The Poppy War because I haven't read it yet and I want to. Red Rising, Golden Sun, Morning Star, Iron Gold. Maha asks, who is the character you've most hated in a book and why? Lila Bard from A Darkest Shade of Magic. I didn't like her character. I feel like I liked her more in A Conjuring of Light, but in A Dark Shade of Magic and A Gathering of Shadows, I hated her. Still to this day, dislike her quite greatly. Why? Because she doesn't think about the consequences before she does things. She doesn't learn from mistakes, and she's arrogant. Nerdtastic2014 asks, do you listen to music when you read? No, I don't. I like complete silence. Also, do you create playlists for each book you read? That's a no also. That's just not my thing. I see a lot of people do that. That's just not for me. Well, Laurie McIntyre, I think, asked what book could you read over and over and never get bored? Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. Christy Book Nerd Reviews asks, what do you think is the hardest and easiest parts of being an Australian booktuber? Oh. Hardest part of being an Australian booktuber is when you're in like a book club and you do like live shows on BookTube. It's really hard to organise a time with an Australian. Like England and Europe and Australia are never really awake at the same time. You have to either be really really early or really late for both countries to be awake. America and I are a bit easier to connect on the middle of the day sort of thing, but the hardest thing is trying to get those time zones right so you can actually chat to your friends that are international. And that's it, guys. Those are all the questions, and I'm about to put all the people's names into a random generator and tell you who's won. I would show you on the screen it being done, but I don't know how to do that. Sorry. Okie dokie, so I counted how many people entered my giveaway and I'm about to press generate from 1 to 31 because that's how many people asked me questions and work out what number that is. So it is number 20. Now I'm going to go down the list and see on my screen who's number 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. The winner is Book Elenic. Thank you very much for asking your question, which was the talk out the scene, and a moment you realised it had an impact. So congratulations for winning my 1K giveaway. You have won a $25 Australian order from Book Depository, and I will try to contact you right now to organise that so you can pick a book or some books that I can place an order for you. That's it from me today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for my giveaway, for subscribing, liking, commenting. I appreciate every single one of you, and I love doing this giveaway. That's it from me today, guys. If you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more and have not already, and chat to me down in the comments. I make videos every Monday and Thursday, and I'll see you in a new one. Bye!